Imagine standing alone in a forgotten cemetery at midnight, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, when something impossible happens. A whisper from a grave that knows your name, a shadow that moves against the wind, or a photo that captures what no living eye should see. These aren't just stories, they're real accounts from ordinary people who ventured into the silence of the dead and came back with proof that defies everything we know about life and what lies beyond. Tonight, I'll share 3 unexplained, true cemetery visits that led to chilling paranormal evidence, cases without answers, only questions that will haunt you long after the video ends. If you've ever felt a chill in the dark, stay with me, because what you're about to hear might make you question if the dead are truly gone. The Whispering Tomb. Picture this. It's a crisp autumn evening in rural Massachusetts, the kind where the leaves crunch underfoot like brittle bones and the sun dips low, casting long shadows over weathered headstones that date back to the 1700s. Our story begins with Emily, a 28-year-old history teacher from Boston who'd always been drawn to old graveyards, not out of morbid curiosity, but a quiet fascination with the lives etched into those stones. She wasn't a believer in ghosts. She was a skeptic, armed with her phone's voice recorder app, visiting the abandoned Willow Creek Cemetery to research a local legend for her class. The air was heavy that night, carrying the faint metallic tang of impending rain, and as she wandered deeper into the overgrown paths, the world around her seemed to hush, as if the earth itself was holding its breath. Emily paused at a cracked marble tomb, its inscription faded but still legible. Here lies Elias Hawthorne, 1742 to 1798. May his secrets rest with him. She felt a strange pull, like an invisible thread tugging at her chest, and on a whim, she hit record and whispered into the night, "If anyone's here, what secret do you keep?" The silence stretched, broken only by the distant hoot of an owl, and she laughed at herself, feeling foolish in the growing dark. But when she played back the recording later that night, safe in her apartment with the lights blazing, her blood ran cold. Amid the static, a raspy voice, not hers, not human in its timbre, replied clearly, "The child, buried alive, under the willow." Her heart pounded like a drum in her ears. She hadn't mentioned any child, and historical records she frantically researched confirmed a dark rumor from 1798, a Hawthorne family scandal involving a missing infant never found, whispered to have been buried prematurely in an unmarked grave beneath a willow tree that still stood in the cemetery. She returned the next day, digging shallowly at the tree's roots with trembling hands, and unearthed a tiny rusted locket containing a lock of infant hair. But here's the twist that keeps this case unsolved. The voice on the recording matched no known audio forensics. Experts called it an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, but it responded directly to her unspoken thoughts, as if reading her mind. Emily never shared the full file publicly, fearing it would invite something darker into her life, but snippets leaked online, and listeners report hearing their own names whispered in the playback. Was it a trick of the wind, or proof that the dead guard secrets too terrible to unearth? As Emily later confided in a private journal entry, "I felt it watching me, not with eyes, but with the weight of centuries. and now I can't sleep without hearing that whisper. This encounter, documented in paranormal forums and even referenced by investigator Dr. Hans Holzer in his book Ghosts, True Encounters with the World Beyond, where he notes, EVPs are the dead's way of bridging the veil, but they often come at a personal cost, leaves us with more questions than answers. Proof that's as tantalizing as it is terrifying, a mystery that pulls you deeper, wondering if your own secrets might one day be whispered back from the grave.
The shifting shadow. Now, let's shift to the humid swamps of Louisiana, where the air hangs thick with the scent of moss and decay, and the Spanish moss drapes from ancient oaks like funeral shrouds. This is the tale of Marcus, a 35-year-old photographer from New Orleans who specialized in capturing the eerie beauty of forgotten places. He wasn't chasing ghosts. He was after art, drawn to the crumbling elegance of St. Louis Cemetery No. 1, infamous for its voodoo history and above-ground tombs that gleam like bleached bones under the moon. One sweltering summer night, armed with his camera and a tripod, Marcus set up for time-lapse shots, the kind that compress hours into haunting montages. The cemetery was closed, but he'd slipped in through a loose gate, the iron creaking like a warning he ignored. As the stars wheeled overhead, he felt an unnatural chill seep into his bones despite the heat, and his skin prickled as if unseen eyes were tracing his every move. He snapped photos methodically, the flash cutting through the darkness like a blade, illuminating faded names and crumbling angels. But when he reviewed the footage the next morning, nursing a headache that felt like fingers pressing into his skull, his world tilted. In the time-lapse, a shadow, humanoid, elongated, and impossibly fluid, emerged from one tomb, gliding across the path toward his camera, pausing, as if aware of being watched, then retreating just as dawn broke. It wasn't a trick of light. Forensic analysis by a digital expert later confirmed no tampering. The shadow defied physics, casting no reflection on the wet ground and moving against the wind's direction. Marcus dug into the tomb's history and uncovered a chilling detail. It belonged to Marie Laveau, the voodoo queen, whose grave is said to be a portal for spirits. In a rare interview snippet from a 2019 Paranormal podcast, a local historian remarked, "Laveau's tomb isn't just stone, it's a doorway, and those who linger too long invite the shadows to follow them home." Marcus experienced just that. After the visit, he reported shadows in his peripheral vision, whispers in empty rooms, and one night, waking to find his camera lens etched with faint, indecipherable symbols. He destroyed the full footage, but fragments circulated online, sparking debates among skeptics and believers alike. Was this proof of a lingering entity, or a hallucination born of the cemetery's oppressive atmosphere? The case remains unsolved, a shadow that creeps into your thoughts, making you glance over your shoulder in the quiet hours, feeling that same chill Marcus described. It wasn't just watching me, it was waiting for permission to step into the light. The Glowing Epitaph. Our final descent takes us to the misty highlands of Scotland, where ancient burial grounds whisper of clans long vanished, and the fog rolls in like a shroud, carrying the earthy scent of peat and forgotten sorrows. Enter Sarah, a 42-year-old archaeologist from Edinburgh, who visited the remote Greyfriars Kirkyard not for thrills, but to document Celtic runes on weathered stones for her research. She was a woman of science, her mind anchored in facts. Yet that foggy dawn in the kirkyard unraveled her certainty. As she knelt before a nondescript headstone inscribed with "Unknown Wanderer, 1650, Fate's Mercy," a soft glow emanated from the stone itself, pulsing like a heartbeat in the dim light. Her hands trembled as she filmed it on her phone, the light intensifying, revealing hidden etchings that weren't there moments before. Symbols forming words in archaic Gaelic. Beware the one who seeks. The air grew heavy, charged with an electric hum that vibrated in her chest, and she felt a profound sadness wash over her, as if the grief of centuries was seeping into her soul. Back in her lab, the video showed the glow clearly, analyzed by experts who ruled out phosphorescence or bioluminescence. It was anomalous, syncing with geomagnetic readings that spiked unnaturally during her visit. Digging deeper, Sarah uncovered a 17th century journal entry from a local priest preserved in Edinburgh archives. The Wanderer's Stone lights for those who carry unspoken burdens, drawing forth the restless dead. Sarah had been grieving a recent loss, her brother's unexplained disappearance, and in the video's audio, faint sobs echoed, mirroring her own voice, but from no visible source. She never returned to the site, but the glow reappeared in photos sent by anonymous visitors, always tied to personal tragedies. This case, debated in paranormal circles and even cited in a 2022 study by the Society for Psychical Research, ends without closure, proof that's as luminous as it is elusive, leaving Sarah to whisper in her notes, "It wasn't just light. It was a call from the other side, and I fear I've answered it." What if the dead illuminate our paths, not to guide, but to pull us into their eternal fog? These 3 unexplained true cemetery visits, Emily's whispering tomb, Marcus's shifting shadow, and Sarah's glowing epitaph, offer glimpses of proof that the veil between worlds is thinner than we dare to admit. Cases forever unsolved, lingering like echoes in the night. They remind us that some mysteries aren't meant to be resolved. They're warnings, etched in the silence of the grave. If these stories stirred something in you, a chill, a doubt, or a memory of your own brush with the unknown, perhaps it's because the dead have a way of finding those who listen. You believe this really happened? Have you ever felt eyes on you in the dark, or heard a voice that shouldn't be? Share your story in the comments below. Maybe yours is the next proof we uncover. And if this video left you questioning the shadows, hit that subscribe button, but only if you have the courage to face what comes next. Like and share if it haunted you, because sometimes the truth is scarier than any fiction. Until next time, sleep with the lights on.